All right, guys. Well, this day, like I said at the beginning, is not going to go as planned. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Saturday in the shop. Hectic day around here this morning. If you follow us on Instagram, you know we've been cranking out parts production stuff a lot. That's kind of become one of our main focuses here. Really trying to plug away and make cool parts that people can use on their builds at home. So anyway, I got a new computer I'm getting set up. We got a new 3D printer that's letting us prototype parts. We're doing all kinds of manufacturing, and anyway, so I've been running around like crazy trying to get everything going. I got to get this computer set up for our CAD software. My old computer that I use just is not cutting it anymore. So anyway, with that being said, I'm going to try and get a little bit of work done on the aluminum bobber project today. Plan for the day is to 100% complete the rear motor mount. We've got it in the fixture. We've got the front lower motor mounts in the fixture. So I'm going to take a piece of tubing and clamp that into the front motor mounts, which will give us the ability to line up our rear motor mounts. We'll mark those for our cope. And then once we have that, we'll be able to start looking at our lower frame rail tubing. So I don't know that I'll actually get to making the lower frame rail tubing, but we'll get that stuff clamped in place, marked, and at least try and get the copes done on the lower motor mount. Not real exciting, I know, but once we do that, probably throw the tire on our rim for the back so we can get our rear axle plates all locked in tight to the fixture, and at least maybe start looking at making some measurements and planning for the rear or the lower frame rails to go in place. So that's my plan for today. Like I said, lots of craziness going on here, so it's going to be a little bit hectic, but I'm going to get done what I can and take you guys along for the ride. We got our little piece of tubing here, so what we're going to do is clamp it into here, get it level, and then this will allow for our mount to be coped in place. So first thing I got to do is spray some Dykem on here. I'm going to go grab that. So we got our little spray Dykem. Works good. Got that blued up. We'll let that dry. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over on the lathe real quick, just cut this nice and square so we have a good piece to square up against it and make our marks. All right, so we got our piece cut nice and square. Our Dykem should be dry. I'm going to find a little spring clamp. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and tighten this bolt down. Get this nice and squared up how it'll be. Get this backbone out of the way. Alright, this spacer I got in here was just some random crap we found when we set up the fixture. And it appears that it's not quite square on the end. So when I lock it down tight, it's giving us some trouble. So I need to find something that's square. so that we can get our pieces held square. So I'm going to go find something, and we'll come back and swap that out. All right, let's see how this works. All right, so we got our piece clamped in here. I'm going to go ahead and get this scribed up. Then we'll pop this out and head over to the mill.
Current mode, indoor follow. Close, indoor follow.
All right, so we got both our scribes in there. I'm going to go over, get this in the mill, and get this notched out. All right, so we're over at the mill. Yep, air's not on. Got our piece clamped in. Going to go ahead and move our table over. We'll cut this side first. All right, guys. Well, this day, like I said at the beginning, is not going to go as planned. I thought for sure I had an 1.25 inch annular cutter to make these notches, and I don't. I've been buying one every week, it seems like. But anyway, we're going to order another cutter because I want to cut this with an annular cutter to make it super nice. They work so well. We'll have another annular cutter added to the fleet, and we'll come back and do that. So I'm going to jump over on the tire machine, get the tire mounted so we can make a couple measurements on that, and then we'll head back to the frame jig and see about getting the rear end all locked down and set up how it needs to be. All right, so we're going to get our tire thrown on here. Real super exciting for everyone, I'm sure. This is a Shinko. What kind of? Looking for the model number. Oh, here we go. What is it? It's R010. I chose it based on how it looks. When I build custom bikes, that's kind of what I do. I like the way the tire looks. I think it'll add to the style of the bike. That's the tire I choose. All right, so we need to get our axle height figured out. So we're going to measure up to the center of our rear wheel, which looks like about 12 5/8. So we want to get this height set at about 8 5/8, which is actually really close to where it is. That'll give us about 4 inches of ground clearance in the back. So we've got our height set. We just need to figure out our width, which we can come over here and just check on our swing arm for our other bike we're building, which is a 10 1/8. So that'll work good. I'm going to come over here, check our measurement here, what our width is. How about...
Avoid obstacles. Close. Indoor follow.
Alright, so we're getting our nuts on here. And then we can slide this in. And we'll get all of our widths set up. Then the only other thing we got to figure out is our length. Because it's really kind of looking pretty short. And I just want to probably measure against, like, we got that rigid, Harley rigid frame over there. So we'll probably just measure against that. Just as a reference point. Make sure we got what seems like the right length. We can always slide this back, obviously, to get more length, so that's not a big deal. Okay, that's 4 1/4. So this side needs to come in. So now we got 4. We got 3 7/8, and we got 10 3/8. All right, so I think we're looking pretty okay here. Ten 7/16, 10 3/8. So we gotta just square this up a little bit. 10 3/8, 10 3/8. All right, so let's just pop over here, measure this Harley rigid frame, just an approximate. We're looking at from the neck to the axle like 52 inches. Here, we're looking at from the neck to the axle about 56 inches. So we're actually a little bit longer already, which is good. I don't mind that. And a little bit stretched, it'll be all right. So we just have to adjust our angles on these and lock them down fully, and then we'll be ready to start making our frame tube once we get our rear motor mount notched. And looks like our tubes are gonna line up nice here. That side, being the chain side, is probably gonna be a little bit offset, so we're gonna have to do a little jog in the frame. Or I don't know, we'll see how the ultimate frame design ends up. But everything's looking good. I gotta probably start making tubing next week. At least the bottom tubing, because the top we're gonna wait until we get the whole bottom tacked together. So next week we might actually be tacking tubing. We'll see how it goes. But so far, so good. All right, guys. Like I said, today was not going to be much done. So that's a wrap for today. We got our part marked, we got our sample tubing made, and we got our axle plate set up in the fixture. I also got my computer set up. I got my 3D printer all fixed up, learned some stuff on that. It's been a little bit of a learning curve on this new printer, so it wasn't a completely uneventful day, but not a lot to show. I also did get my second half of a silicone mold poured for one of our production parts, so I'm really excited about that. You can see that right here if you care. It's going to be a two-piece mold, and I'm really excited to see what we can make with that. So that is it. We are out of here, and we hope to see you next time at Gattis Garage.